On today's show, the Yankees won 3 out of 4 against the White Sox, and Nestor Cortes closed out the series with a gem on Sunday afternoon. We'll talk about that performance, briefly recap the weekend, and preview the matchups against Baltimore. Because, again, as I keep saying, there's no rest for the weary. The Yankees aren't off till Memorial Day. All that next on Locked On Yankees.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings, Yankees fans. Happy Monday, May 16th. Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias, and I'm joined by my co-host, Abbey Mastracco. We'd like to thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen every day. We're free and available on all platforms, including Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, and Stitcher. You can watch and subscribe to us on YouTube. Also hit the like button on our videos and please comment if you feel so inclined. And when you get into your car, you can tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On Yankees. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. How's your Monday going, Abby?
Oh my God. Where do I start? Okay, so I was at Madison Square Garden last night for Game 7. That crazy overtime. The Rangers eliminated the Penguins. Also probably the end of an era because Sidney Crosby's still with the Penguins, but Malkin and Letang probably not going to be with them for much longer. So lots of different storylines, right? I was working until 3:30 a.m. I got up this morning. I had a couple things I had to edit for Elite Prospects. I do some copy editing for EP Rinkside, and think it's going to be an okay, sort of busy day. And then within 5 minutes of each other, the Islanders hire Lane Lambert as a head coach, and the Golden Knights fire Pete DeBoer as their head coach. As a national hockey writer, I had to handle all that on a news desk for 2 different outlets. And my parents are in town because my cousin is getting married next weekend or this upcoming weekend in Philadelphia. So they are in town ahead of time. They're going to take the train down to Philly. And we've got all these plans made. And then my mom just decides we're going to rearrange everything because it's raining. And I give my parents a lot of credit for this. They're not afraid to take the subway. If they want to take the subway, my mom has her map, the actual subway map, and she's got the app on her phone and she's asking me questions. Well, how do I get here? And is this the best way to get there? And I'm going to be honest with you, baseball fans. I wasn't able to watch a single inning all weekend. Game 7s got in the way.
Yeah.
And so today is going to be Stacey telling me everything I need to know about baseball, about the Yankees.
Yeah.
The only thing I know that happened over the weekend was Albert Pujols pitched.
Right. Yes. He pitched last night, in case you missed that.
Yeah, we were all sitting there waiting for Sidney Crosby after the game last night, and we were like, man, how dare Pujols try and upstage a Game 7 like this?
Right. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Now, you mentioned the subway, and the Yankees ace, Nestor Cortes Jr., likes to take the subway. He also likes to pitch really well. He pitched another gem yesterday. Just unbelievable. And, the only blemish was the home run that Engel hit, and that was in the 8th inning. It took until the 8th inning for the White Sox to do anything against him. Didn't issue a walk, only gave up 3 hits overall, struck out 7. His ERA is down to 1.35. He's so much fun to watch. Really. Jeff of Locked On Reds actually told me yesterday, he's like, yeah, he's my favorite non-red I just enjoy watching him. By the way, the Reds didn't give up a hit yesterday, but still lost their game 1-0. So
it's very Mets-like.
Yeah, very 1990 Yankees like also because, Andy Hawkins with the no-hitter, but they still lost 4-0. So, yeah, poor Reds. Now, Nestor Cortes Jr.'s counterpart, Michael Kopech, had a little bit of trouble in the second inning, which is where the Yankees scored most of their runs without really doing anything other than walking. In case you missed this, in the second inning yesterday, Stanton flied out, Donaldson flied out. So there's 2 outs. Michael Kopech is probably thinking, all right, cool. Joey Gallo walks. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa singles. Gallo makes it to second. Jose Trevino walks. The base is loaded. There's a mound visit. I don't know what they said to Michael Kopech because it didn't seem to help because he walked Aaron Hicks to score Gallo. Then he walked DJ LeMahieu to score IKF. Then he uncorked a wild pitch to score Trevino to make it 3-0 Yankees. And the only other hit, aside from the single that Falefa hit, was the home run by Joey Gallo later in the game to make it 5-1. And speaking of Joey
Gallo these days.
Yeah. Where is that stat? The first 16 games this season, Gallo's batting line was 146, 255, 167. 0 home runs, 1 run batted in. His last 15 games, 268, 388. It's good on base percentage. 634. His OPS is now 1.022 instead of 421. And he has 5 home runs, 6 runs batted in. So he is looking better. I did enjoy his post-game video yesterday. It was funny because they were actually asking him about Cortes, what it's like, being in the field behind him, watching him. He's like, I'm lucky enough to have not faced him and I wouldn't want to face him. And that's what, who else said that? Someone else said that. They're like, I'm so glad I don't have to face him and that he's on our team because he's just, someone called him masterful. I was like, that's just a very nice compliment to give your starting pitcher, but he really has. Nestor Cortes is the first Yankee pitcher with at least 49 strikeouts and 7 runs allowed or fewer through his first 7 games of a season. First one in franchise history, which when you think about...
Yeah, think about all the historic names in this franchise.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's allowed 3 runs or fewer in 16 consecutive starts. That's tied for second longest streak in Yankees history. The only starter with a longer streak is Russ Ford, who did it for 20 games between 1910 and 1911, crossed over 2 seasons. So, yeah, he's doing amazing things. I was going to... Let's see. He got 14 swings and misses yesterday. Obviously, he's not on the top pitch velocity list because, as we always joke, he never is.
No.
And he doesn't need to be because he's amazing. He threw 39 cutters, 37 four-seam fastballs, 20 sliders, 2 changeups, 1 sinker. That's from Baseball Savant. And his four-seam fastball was only averaging 90.8 yesterday. His max was 93.3. His minimum was 87.3. So,
when you have, in today's baseball, today's game, you have so many fireballers, and especially these big, tall starting pitchers. Everything is coming at hitters 97 miles an hour or faster.
Yeah.
So then you've got a guy like Nestor Cortes that you're facing, and all of a sudden, you're just you're geared up for heat. And then it's Nestor. It really does mess with timing for some people. And then, we talked about just how his delivery also messes with their timing.
Right. His changing of the arm slot and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. When you've got a guy like this who can command all of his pitches at a lower speed and he really does get outs effectively, it's such a fun thing to watch. Watch these at bats. Watch how corked up these guys are when they're facing him, and then all of a sudden it's a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. They're not expecting it. They muscle memory and your quick twitch muscles are so important to hitters.
Yeah.
And when they are ready for something that's so much faster, it's almost like they just don't see it coming. Like they know it's coming, but they can't adjust to it quick enough.
Right. Yeah, he's unbelievable. And with that game yesterday, the Yankees took 3 out of 4. We're going to talk about the game that they lost briefly because it's the same old issue that keeps popping up for Jordan Montgomery. No run support. But before we talk about that, our partners at BetOnline continue to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's basketball playoffs. I don't know if Phoenix even knew there was a game last night. I couldn't believe the score when I saw it at halftime. And then the final score was just, sometimes game sevens are exciting, like the Rangers and Penguins and Flames and Stars. And then basketball, it's kind of like womp womp. You can also bet on Major League Baseball scores, fights, and next season's NFL futures. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thanks for making Locked On Yankees your first listen every day. For your next listen, check out Locked On Now. It's the podcast where you get Major League Baseball recaps with analysis from our local experts who are taking fans through the season like no other network. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So,
My
Jordan.
roommate is a diehard Phoenix Suns fan. Like he spent some of his childhood in Alaska, Hawaii, and the Phoenix area. So that's the team he picked, and he played college basketball. So, and yesterday was his birthday.
Oh no!
Yeah, the Suns like really ruined his birthday there.
I mean, that was really. I saw the one score and I was like, is that, I think it was like 57-27. And I thought, wait, huh? I'm like, the Suns? Like, what the hell is happening here? Very strange. But
I just thought, it's game 7. You're supposed to give the fans what they want here, and this is not what they want.
Exactly.
What they want is something like what happened last night in overtime.
Right.
Make it interesting. Make it fun.
Yeah. Because I was watching like one of those weekly sports wrap-up shows that they have on Sunday nights. I can't remember which one it was. And they posed the question, like, which sport has the best game sevens? I'm like, hockey. Usually it's hockey.
It really is. And overtime in the NHL, like I've done this for a decade now, but like the first year that I was not doing it in TV, that I wasn't cutting highlights, that I was, I did a full postseason like editorial, was in 2014. I was covering the Kings and the Ducks, and the Kings won 3 game sevens to get to the Stanley Cup final. And one of those game sevens was against the Ducks. And the first game 7 that they played in that series was when they came back from a 3-0 deficit in earlier in the series against San Jose. They did the reverse sweep. They won 4 straight.
Right.
And it was just like San Jose was so dejected from the start of that game. Like there was nothing going
right
from the very start of that game. It was sort of insane. And I was like, oh man, this is fun. Like
that was like that was the 2004 ALCS. Like game 7 was a complete dud because I mean, as soon as Damon hit the grand slam, I was like, click, and I turned it off. I'm like, I'm not watching this. Why am I going to sit through this? Like, I don't need to sit through this. I know what's going to happen. I saw the movie.
I always say that like the postseason is every sport's best marketing tool. Baseball in October, there's absolutely nothing like it. It's such a special feeling, like just watching the games, even like seeing the crowd, like you almost feel like you're a part of it, even on your couch. Yeah. And hockey is the same way. Like this is the NHL's best marketing tool to continue to get new fans. Like if you're not a hockey fan, but you're a Yankee fan and you like New York teams, like definitely watch the Rangers against the Hurricanes in the next round. Yeah. Sure, there's some bad officiating because it's the NHL, but overtime in hockey, overtime in the playoffs is insane. Like the margin of error is so thin. So you either have teams playing like really conservatively, or you have teams just going like balls to the wall and throwing everything out there. It's kind of like extra innings in baseball where like you've got guys who maybe don't throw these pitches in certain situations, but like they're going to reach back and they're going to give it up. They're going to throw as hard as they can. And it's the playoffs are so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
They just are. And I feel bad for the state of Arizona today because they didn't really get a very fun one last night.
Now, speaking of the playoffs, the last 3 teams in the last 17 years to start 25-9, 2018 Red Sox won the World Series. 2016 Cubs won the World Series. 2005 White Sox won the World Series. No pressure on the Yankees. Anyway.
Best record in baseball.
Yeah, we saw that coming.
That much I do know. That much I do know.
Yeah. Now, Jordan Montgomery, that poor guy, unbelievable. He's gotten 8 runs of support in 7 starts. And I know that when he saw the Friday night game and they scored 10, he probably thought to himself, yeah, they're probably not going to do this for me tomorrow, are they?
He's got such bad timing, like where he is in the rotation. Like maybe Aaron Boone should like bump him up in the rotation for a couple turns just so like you're getting a turn to have some offense now.
Or like even push him back one. Like, I don't know. Something has to be done for poor Jordan Montgomery. It's just really bad timing. I joked that because Aaron Hicks has trouble with runners in scoring position, that anyone on second and third should wear an invisibility cloak, like from Harry Potter, so he doesn't realize that there are runners on base and he can get a hit. I think Jordan Montgomery needs to don a disguise in his next start. His next start is against Baltimore, I believe, because it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's a 4-game series. So, yeah, I think he needs to, maybe fake mustache. The Yankees might have the old ones lying around from when they wore them for Jason Giambi in 2008. I'm kind of surprised that they...
Valentine.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't do that for Nestor. Because his mustache is like...
Dugout? Oh, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, why don't they do that? Oh, I should...
Like, he's having a really good start, and then all of a sudden, like, he comes out of the game, and everybody in the dugout's just wearing mustaches.
Yeah.
I would lose it. That's fantastic. And this Yankees team actually is fun. Like, sure, to everybody else, every other fan around the league, the Yankees are sort of like, they're the evil empire, they've always had that reputation for fans outside the league. But like, if you've been watching in New York for the last 5 years, this is actually kind of a fun group. Yeah. They had Bronxy the Turtle last year. The mustaches that seems like something that they would probably kind of embrace.
Yeah.
This particular group.
Sure. Jason Giambi had that mustache in 2008, and Bobby Abreu and Moose, Mike Messina, would wear them because they were handing out Jason Giambi mustaches, and I thought that was really funny.
But dirt bag, go on beach.
But yeah, this team, I noticed it. Aaron Judge and Josh Donaldson do fadeaway jumpers when they celebrate someone's home run. Gallo and Donaldson have a shimmy that they do, and I'm just like, I love stuff like that. I think it's great, and I love that. Some of us were worried about the Donaldson thing, but he's fitting in so well with them, and there's absolutely, it's like he's been on the team forever with the way he's interacting with all these guys, and I just think that's great. And that they do that. They're not going to treat him like crap because of something he said about Garrett Cole, as long as he apologized, and he did. And he's like, I'm here, we're going to try and win, and I'm going to do everything I can to help you guys. He made a spectacular defensive play yesterday behind Nestor Cortes diving for the ball, and to see 37-year-old Josh Donaldson make a play like that, it was kind of scary. But when he got up and he was okay, I was like, okay, good, thank God, because with I said it last week, I feel like things are going too well, and I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it's just very this isn't comfortable for me. I don't like it.
New Yorkers have nothing to complain about right now, except maybe the thunderstorms today.
Right. I mean, there really isn't anything.
Complain about signal issues, guys. The Yankees are doing well. The Mets are doing well. The Rangers advanced to the second round. I don't know if it's probably too early to complain about football. Complain about signal issues.
Yeah.
Eric Adams.
Yeah.
His weird diet.
Yeah. So, Saturday was kind of rough. They didn't really score for Montgomery. Then they rallied. Then Chapman blows it and ends up losing the game. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa makes a blunder on the base paths that kind of ruined the rally. And like the Yankees probably could have scored more and kind of pulled ahead instead of tying. And it just wasn't their day. And the good thing about it was I just thought, all right, it's just one of those games. I didn't have the same feeling that I would have gotten last season where I thought, oh God, here we go. This is going to start. This is going to start a bad roll. And then they came out yesterday and they weren't really hitting, but they were able to score. Nestor Cortes pitched his butt off and they found a way to win, and they did. So they took 3 out of 4 from the White Sox, which is, it's all you can do. I mean, sweeping a 4-game series is hard, really. I know some people complain about that. Like, oh, what? Even against bad teams, it's not that easy to sweep 4 games, really. So,
well, look, I mean, we talked about this last week. When the Yankees lose one, they find a way to win the next.
Yeah.
They haven't lost consecutive game. I mean, they don't have any long losing streaks.
No, and they've won 8 consecutive series now since they dropped that series to Baltimore. So
they haven't lost consecutive games since early April, and their only consecutive losses were 2 losses, one to Boston and one to Toronto.
Yeah.
Back-to-back games, really? They had they reeled off that long winning streak. Like, look, they are finding a way to win the next one. They're finding ways to win when they're down in games. 4-game sweep would have been great, sure, but hey, maybe they sweep Baltimore.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, speaking of Baltimore, we're going to preview the pitching matchups because it is another 4-game series. Lots of those lately. But before we do that, I'm very excited about this.
She is so excited.
Okay, if you're not watching on YouTube, I'm holding up a Built Bar Puff, the birthday cake. I have it in my possession. I've eaten one, and let me tell you. Okay, so imagine dipping your finger into that plastic tub of birthday cake frosting and then realizing it's only 150 calories. That's what it's like eating this. It's unbelievable. They're so good. They're really, really good. Now, I will say, they're very sweet. If you like very sweet stuff and stuff that definitely tastes bad for you but is good for you, get the Built Bar birthday cake puff. Every puff is covered in 100% chocolate. This one is covered in white chocolate and sprinkles, just like a birthday cake, and only 150 calories. All Built Bars are covered in 100% chocolate. That means with Built, you can eat healthy and enjoy doing it. And they're made with collagen protein, which helps your body absorb, which your body absorbs. There you go. More efficiently, provides health benefits. Go to Built.com. Get the birthday cake puff now. I'm telling you, get it. Use our promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Again, use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. So, yeah, I'm going to have this actually when we're done with this because it's really good. I'm not kidding. It's so good. So
2:15 right now, and I haven't eaten anything yet, so maybe I should have a Built Bar.
Did I eat anything? No, I haven't eaten anything either. This is just a bad day. I didn't have coffee. I didn't eat. What is going on?
I should have coffee, but I made coffee, and then as soon as I got back upstairs, the Islanders announced the hiring of Lane Lambert, or not hiring, promotion. He was an assistant coach already.
No, you didn't spill any almond milk, did you?
I did not spill any milk today, no.
Okay.
I didn't shake any liquids all over myself. I didn't have to mop the floor twice, which is good because I cleaned my apartment top to bottom. And this is, it's a townhouse style converted attic that I live in. So it gets dusty. I cleaned it so well because my parents are going to come tomorrow. They're going to take the subway. Go Miss Broncos. And I was conscious of that. I was I'm not even going to shake this creamer today. I'm just pouring it in. And then I did, and I got upstairs, and then all the news happened, and I left my coffee. It's cold now, and I'm still drinking it. This is sad.
Yeah, it's a Monday. It's a Monday, and the weather is weird, and everything is weird. Now, what's not weird is the Yankees playing the Orioles. They're going to be playing against them next week too. This series is in Baltimore tonight, Luis Severino against Kyle Bradish, who is a rookie. I used to be worried about that. We'll see how that goes.
You worry about everything.
I do worry about everything. I do. I've been anxious since I was born, basically. Severino has a 4.08 ERA with 31 strikeouts in 28 and 2/3 innings. Bradish, 4.24 ERA with 16 strikeouts in 17 innings. He was drafted by the Angels in the 2018 draft. And he was sent to the Orioles in exchange for Dylan Bundy prior to the 2020 season, in that package for Dylan Bundy. So, again, it'll be the first time that the Yankees are seeing him. On Tuesday, Jamison Tyonne against Spencer Watkins. Tyonne, as we said the last time, he's been really good this season. And, I mean, honestly, most of the Yankee starters have been really good this season, and it's one of their strengths. And, he has a 2.93 ERA. He has 25 strikeouts in 30 and 2/3 innings. And apparently he's currently tied for the fourth best walk rate in Major League Baseball at 2.3%, and he's allowed 2 or fewer runs in each of his 6 starts. So, yeah, he's doing really well. This is the Tyonne the Yankees wanted. I said this before his last start. This is what they were looking for or hoping for, because, he was a reclamation project along with Corey Kluber. We also said that the last time we previewed his start, but it's working out well for the Yankees right now with him.
It sort of bears repeating because it also leads, it illustrates how good the Yankees scouting department is, and that they're able to identify these guys like Jamison Tyonne, Clay Holmes, Nestor Cortes, that still have something left in them that they can pull out and sort of help to reshape that. Maybe not completely reshape. Maybe that's not the correct term, but the Yankees scouting staff is very good at identifying, a couple things that some of these pitchers do well and saying, keep doing these things well and it will work out. And so far it has worked out with those 3 pitchers, and they've been really impactful.
Yeah.
Super important pitchers. And let's give the scouting staff a round of applause there.
Yeah. I also feel like Matt Blake, I don't know what he's doing with some of these guys. I feel like if Sonny Gray were with the Yankees and Matt Blake was the pitching coach, things would have worked out a lot differently for Sonny Gray.
Awful.
There's a lot of shenanigans going on when Sonny Gray was here. And I had a whole rant about that, a whole podcast. How many years ago was that now? Yeah, it was bad. Wednesday night. The first 3 games are night games, and then Thursday. I'm thinking it's a weekend. Thursday is a day game. Wednesday night is Garrett Cole against Jordan Lyles. Cole, 3-0, 2.95 ERA, 46 strikeouts in 36 and 2/3 innings. I have to say, I love pissy Garrett Cole. I like snarky Garrett Cole. My favorite thing about the other night was he had that balk and he got really pissed off at himself, and then he just immediately struck out the batter because I knew that was going to happen. I could see it in his face. I'm like, oh yeah, he's going to throw a pitch that's going to confuse this guy, isn't he? And sure enough, yes. And then he stalked off the mound like, I liked that when he first came over. I was like, oh, I like how fiery he is, because I wasn't really paying attention to him really. Even when he was on the Astros, I didn't really pay attention to him, and I didn't, because when you don't see someone every 5 starts, you don't see a lot about him. And yeah, I pissed off Garrett Cole is like one of my favorite things ever. And, I know that he wasn't happy with the way things started, but even when you look at the way things started, even though his ERA was bloated, he hasn't really done that bad. Like, it was just those first couple of starts, and then he's...
And like we said, it was too early to panic. And I know there were a lot of people who were very worried after those first 2 starts. When you pay a guy that much money, yeah, you are going to worry after a couple disastrous starts like that.
Right.
But it was the first 2 after a weird spring training.
Yeah.
And I still stand by the fact that, look, we predicted that he would turn this around, and he has.
Right. In his last 4 outings, he's pitched to a 1.42 ERA with 34 strikeouts in only 25 and 1/3 innings. And he would have done better, actually, against the White Sox if there weren't a couple of defensive mishaps behind him as well. So, things were happening, but his overall numbers look great. And Jordan Lyles, his opponent, making his 8th start. He has a 4.38 ERA, 32 strikeouts in 39 innings. On the nose. There's no thirds there. Good for you, Jordan Lyles. I always like round numbers. And then on Thursday, Jordan Montgomery. Oh, he's up against Bruce Zimmerman. He's always up against guys that are...
Oh, man.
Oh, poor Jordan Montgomery. Okay. So he, in 7 starts, his ERA is 3.06. He has 29 strikeouts and 31 1/3 innings. He's currently tied for the 7th worst run support. He only gets 2.3 runs a game. And this is throughout the league. And so he's up against Bruce Zimmerman, who's making his 8th start. Now, he's 2-2, but he has a 2.72 ERA with 32 strikeouts in 36 1/3 innings. So it always feels like he's up against guys that could do well. He's never really up against a guy that you look at an ERA and you think, oh, all right, the Yankees should be able to get this to this guy because his ERA is around 5. No, Bruce Zimmerman's actually pretty good, so we'll see what happens with that game. But I really think if anyone from the Yankees is watching or listening, just put a disguise on Jordan Montgomery on Thursday afternoon at Camden Yards. That might actually help.
Get the natty bow. We'll turn him into the natty bow guy.
Yeah.
Little natty bohemian guy. Disguise. First thing that came to mind was The Wire. I don't think that's the right one, but the natty bow guy.
Oh, poor Jordan Montgomery. And then after Baltimore, they welcome the White Sox to the stadium, and then they welcome Baltimore to the stadium because, again, it's a very strange schedule. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we see the Rays for the first time, just in time for, of course, the Rays are going to be the last series before their off day when they're, dragging themselves to the stadium to play a game because, 23 games in 22 days is kind of rough, when you plan... You plan on having a couple of off days in there and then they don't happen. That can't really be fun. So we'll see how the Yankees, handle this week and next week. Because right now, things look really good. But, they could kind of run into a wall. So be prepared for that, people. Just,
It's a lot. But I do think the way that Aaron Boone has been sort of working guys in and out of the lineup it's going to keep guys' legs fresh. And that's part of his job as a manager.
Yeah.
Rolling out the same lineup every night would be great right now, but it's just not possible because you don't want to just grind guys down.
And can we say this, that it's not just the players, yes, they're winning the games, but a lot of stuff that Boone does is actually helping this team win. Decisions he makes. Lineups that he puts out, resting some guys. I know some people were really, he rested Judge a day before an off day or 2 days before an off day. And people were like, what? And then he came back and hit a home run anyway. And, there's a method to Boone's madness. I think now that we're 4 seasons in, I think he kind of gets, he kind of knows what he's doing now. And
I keep going back to last year when Cashman said, if I let him go, he would be the number 1 manager on the market. And it's true.
Yeah.
A few nights ago, we heard the same rationale when the Toronto Maple Leafs lost in Game 7 to Tampa, which, by the way, it was really funny. Shout out to my friend Arda Ocal at ESPN. He tweeted the Blue Jays Rays score, and he's like, well, at least one team from Tampa beat a team from Tampa Bay, or one team from Toronto beat a team from Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that was kind of cool, actually, that the Rays and the Jays and the Maple Leafs and Lightning were playing at the same time.
When, there's been a lot of talk from fans who want to blow everything up in Toronto because they can't get out of the first round. If they were to trade away somebody like Mitch Marner, you're not going to trade Austin Matthews, but I've seen some fans even say trade Austin Matthews out of there, or get rid of Sheldon Keefe. If you got rid of one, if not all of those guys, there are teams lining up to take them.
Right. So
what does that say?
Yeah.
Same with Aaron Boone. If you got rid of Aaron Boone, there would be teams lining up to take Aaron Boone. Yeah. So that says something.
Mm-hmm.
He last year, I think the argument that I heard was that this is like something that fans always say, like, oh, he's lost the locker room. How do you know?
I don't think he did.
How do you know? You're not in that locker room.
Yeah, no, I don't think he did.
Honestly, like I see this is like such a common thing that I see, a complaint that I see from fans when things are going badly for a team. They say the coach, the manager, that he's lost the captain, he's lost the locker room.
Yeah.
How do you know?
Yeah.
You're gauging this based on 20 seconds of press conference footage. You're not in that locker room. They are more private than ever. And yes, there are some team insiders who are probably more privy to that information than somebody like me is, who drops in and out of games because I have to cover 60-something teams. But even when I was a beat writer, I was hearing this all the time. Oh, he's lost the locker. No. The message can get stale sometimes. That doesn't mean that the manager has lost the team completely. And that's the one thing that last year I always thought, like, even just on Zoom press conferences, it really seemed like the team bought into what Aaron Boone was selling and really rallied around him. And look, I think the decision to keep him has paid off this season.
Yeah.
It was an unpopular decision last year, but I think that Cashman's decision has, he's sort of been vindicated from that one.
I feel like a lot of his decisions he's been vindicated from so far. So far.
Well, and there were a lot of people who wanted Cashman gone last year too.
Yeah. I mean, I was one of them just because it's a cumulative thing because he's been there for so long. And I felt like if there was a way for the Yankees to get someone new, but not new for the Yankees, not new to GM work, and someone who has a reputation of, but yeah, I mean, there's also that part of me that's the nostalgic part of me that, we grew up together, me and Cashman. He's not that much older than me. So it's like, I saw him come up and it was like so exciting that someone that young became a GM. It's like, wow, he's not that much older than me. And
I used to work for Cashman's college roommate, Jimmy Patsos, a basketball coach. He was the coach at Loyola in Maryland when I was working in media relations there back in 2009-10.
Mm-hmm.
And Jimmy is one of a kind, let me tell you. And Cashman's so, he's so, even keel.
He really is.
Jimmy Patsos is...
Like me? Is it a Greek thing?
Oh, maybe. Jimmy, he's very volatile. He's a nice guy. Jimmy was yelling at me at Orioles opening day one time. He was like, has any other basketball coach that you've ever worked with cared like me? Jimmy cares. Jimmy cares about you, Abby. Jimmy cares. It was like a Seinfeld sketch. I was
going to say. I was like, that sounds like Jimmy from Seinfeld. That's funny.
It was so, Jimmy once removed himself from a game because he didn't want to get a technical foul. And I think he set an NCAA record for technicals in his first year of coaching, something like that. And he's funny. The guy who also did the reverse box and one on Steph Curry when Steph was still at Davidson in college. He is, I don't even know how to describe Jimmy Patsos. He's just one of a kind, but it's so funny because he stayed really good friends with Brian Cashman. And I just find it it really is true that opposites attract, because Cashman's so level-headed and so steady, and Jimmy is just he is a roller coaster of emotions, man. That is an understatement.
Same. So on tomorrow's show, recap tonight's game. Whatever happens, we'll see. I guess Yankees in Baltimore for 4. Should be interesting to see if they keep rolling. And as I said, Baltimore was just swept by the Tigers, so they're kind of on a downturn. And so that's it for this episode of Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Abby and I would like to remind you that you can listen to this show in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, Spotify, Stitcher, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can watch and subscribe to us on YouTube. Again, like and comment on YouTube. I respond. And when you get into your car, tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On MLB. Now make your second listen of the day Locked on MLB, Paul Francis Sullivan, please call him Sully, and please wish him a happy 50th birthday. He turned 50 yesterday. Brings you his unique perspective on the major leagues, both past and present. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. One more thing, if you could be so kind, please rate the podcast and spread the word about this podcast to your fellow Yankee fans. We would really appreciate it. So enjoy your Monday, and we will talk to you tomorrow.
Also, please leave Stacey a 5-star review because she carried the team today.
Oh, thank you.